behind the scenes. But for everybody else, hello there, welcome along. It is Talkin Con. Very shortly indeed, we're going to dive into today's show. It is the last one of this season, and I hope you have a good one on this, because it's our chat about what we've experienced this last week, which has been lots. So we're going to get into all of that. But of course, our Patreon supporters, which pretty much have been our supporters throughout the course of this season. These are the people that have allowed us to do what we do all the way through this, and they've just been absolutely excellent. So thank you so much indeed to you guys. Indeed, one of them has just joined us in the behind the scenes. So yeah, we'll introduce him in a second. But yes, to all of the supporters, thank you so much indeed. Really appreciate everything that you've done. And of course, for everybody who's liked and subscribed, if you are watching this now, that means you got the notifications through, and of course that means that you're a subscriber, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the streams that we've done, especially over the course of lockdown, because we've done what we can to bring you some great interviews, and I hope you've enjoyed them. Michael P is saying hello, good morning. We'll get into one or two welcomes in a bit. But what else? Yeah, it's been a weekend and a half, hasn't it? We'll get into all of this. As always, any comments, any questions, anything you want to talk about. I know that the chatter at the moment, certainly on my social media, is about badge sales, because everyone, it's Monday after Comic-Con, and therefore everyone's talking about getting back to San Diego, which is understandable. But we'll get into that in a second. We've got a couple of comments about people who are catching up with panels. I think that's what today's been all about. I mean, I watched 2 this morning, so we'll get into that as well. But yes, this is episode 56. It's our last one of season 7. That's right, you patronising buggers. I hear you. But listen, thank you so much indeed for coming along. It is our kind of wrap-up for this year, because it has been something particularly special. I think what Comic-Con have pulled off has been particularly impressive. So yeah, it's been something else. We're going to do our best to break it down. I've got some things I want to talk about. I'm certain my guests have some things to talk about as well. But first and foremost, very quickly go through a couple of welcomes. Hello, good Michael P. Good morning to you. Dan Berry saying hello. I think he's actually saying you're welcome for all the Patreon support. I do appreciate it. Thank you. So let's just Smeg, sup everyone. Leanne D is saying hello. And indeed, there's going to be a little bit of banter backwards and forwards as everyone's catching up with each other. So it's good. Veronica Nunez, good morning. Back at work from home and catching up on panels. And Michael Ebel, good afternoon, Ohio time. I'll be listening while travelling. I appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, so like I was saying in the intro, I hope you've enjoyed the streams that I've been putting on throughout the course of pandemic, through lockdown. Hopefully it's kind of kept you entertained on a Wednesday, Sunday, and sometimes some other days as well when we've thrown in the incidental episodes. We've had some amazing guests on, and it really has been a joy to talk to them. I'm going to myself go back and listen to a couple of them, purely because I could not believe they were happening as they were going on. The Bill Sienkiewicz I can barely remember. There's a couple of them I can't believe I got this person on the Hangout. It was really, really cool. But there we go. We've got ourselves some great guests who are joining us, and we'll go one by one. Let's introduce them. Hello there, Carolyn. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So this is actually a lot. But the last time I was on, folks, I was talking about Inhumans, and yes, I'll own that. And yes, I'll own that I was very, very wrong. But I'm a freelancer.
It was a passionate defense. You can't deny it.
Yeah, but sometimes passion can just shoot you in a wrong direction. But I'm a freelancer. I've got work on fandom.com. I've got work on Screen Rant, and most people probably know me through the Marvel Report, big fan site over discussing Marvel-related everything. So I had things to do during this con, but I didn't get to do as much as I wanted, which gave me a lot of opportunity to really get in some awesome panels, like for the first time in several years. But I've been going to cons since I was 3 months old.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, you've been to a few. That I can appreciate that. I mean, Aaron, how are you doing, sir? First and foremost.
Good. Hello to everybody.
Right then. So, I mean, just how distracted were you? I mean, did you manage to? Were you working, or was it something that you were able to sit down and enjoy, or was it something that was just happening over there?
I would say the mix was maybe 70-30, 30% that I was working. So I did take in a lot of the panels, and I was overly impressed. Like you, Leonard, I think a lot of the production value could use a little work. And that
We'll
was
get
pretty
into
much
that.
that was pretty much my major gripe. I just posted my top 10 list of the panels I've watched so far, along with some 5 honorable mentions on hallh.com. And yeah, pretty much I think the content and the diverse selection of panels is something to be applauded. But, you know, it's the technical things that may dissuade people from taking advantage of this wealth of panels that CCI has put together. That and maybe a minor thing would be that a lot of the panels seem to have run out of time. Like I guess they didn't do a lot of time management, or hopefully they have a part 2 that we can listen to, but we'll see.
Well, some of them ran out of time. Some of them ran over. There was I can imagine the email basically said keep it to an hour.
Although any panel with Mark Evanier could probably run over a few minutes, right?
That's the one I was talking about. That's the one I was on about. And by the way, I got told, by the way, because I know that we may have 1 or 2 CCI high ups watching, because I know that they were tuning in yesterday. Ivanier of Ivanier. I got told to pronounce it right, because I got a bit of a well-deserved wrist slap, because you got to get his name right. It's Mark Ivanier. Yeah, I know. What can you do? And we got Karma Savage joining us. Hello there, Karma. How are you?
Hello. Doing good. I forgot to put my outlet on there. My bad.
It's okay. I mean, you can change it if you want to, but by all means, tell everyone about yourself. Tell everyone who you write for.
So I really don't write, but I report. I'm not a writer, but I report for a entertainment media website that's called Second Union, and all things geek, everything from 1970s detective shows to Saturday morning cartoons to today. So I have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
I'll also add that Karma is also a graphic designer, and she's had and she's also had one of her designs in the Comic-Con souvenir book, right?
Indeed.
Thank you, Aaron. I meant to share that. I forgot to reshare that, so I need to do that.
You see, she hides a light under a bushel. This is what it is. She's kind and she's modest, but you know what? It's great. It's great. You guys. Oh, Carolyn. Oh, Aaron. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's have the big hug fest. Let's get the hug fest out of the way now. Okay. Right. Let's dive into it then, because it was a big weekend, and there was so much to get into. First and foremost, I have got my ideas, which I'm going to get into. I'll give my initial impressions as a couple of sentences, and then we'll open it up to discussion, see if anyone disagrees, agrees, whatever. I've separated it into pros and cons. The cons list is longer than the pros list, but that's purely because there's things we can improve on, or they could have improved on. It's not a diss at Comic-Con at home. I mean, if we can actually start off with just an overview, because I, for myself, thought it was a great success for what they needed to achieve, which was a band-aid on a very big wound, which we were all suffering from, the loss of Comic-Con this year. That massive hole, not just in Comic-Con, let's open it up a little further, pop culture news and that celebration of pop culture, it all kind of hinges on this week that happens in San Diego. What Comic-Con International did in the shorter space of time and with the personnel to hand, I think was an incredible achievement. And we'll start with this overview, guys. What did you think? Carolyn first. Overall?
So my feelings are definitely mixed. As I've been going, this is literally the 4th year that I've missed in 34 years of being alive. Of being and for so many people, it's a space where a lot of us feel accepted, and we save up that sense of acceptance. You know, a lot of people will go to parties and they'll go to, you know, other events with friends, and we all do that. But I think a lot of people really save up the time to cut loose at Comic-Con in person. I think that the panels did run too short. I missed the Q&As. I think a lot of really good pop culture moments would come out of the Q&As, and I think it's an opportunity to actually call creators into account a little bit too, because if you have questions about, say, something like, you know, you don't get a chance to really answer. But that's my list of cons. My list of pros is I like being able to access the panels long after the fact. And I like being able to, I think that for a lot of people, and I really do want to get on this, I think for a lot of people it provides a degree of access that many people don't have and that should be improved upon.
Sure. Karma, I mean, a general overview before we get into pros and cons. Success or what? What would you say?
It took me a moment to warm up to it. Because I was still like, I don't want to, yeah. And then I finally printed out the badge. You know, and I started looking at the news about it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll give it a try.
It's somebody. I saw somebody who actually did a full backdrop print of like the Comic-Con backdrop, so they had their own wall, and people went. They were desperate. They were just desperate to enjoy this. Yeah. Absolutely. Aaron, what did you say? What did you think? General thoughts?
I mean, I think for its first iteration, I think it was an overall success. I mean, the best part was, I mean, we're going to talk about pros and cons later, but the major pro for me was that it was free, and it gives the general public a chance to get a taste for it at least. So going forward, who knows what it may do to increase sales.
I mean, I think the thing we need to remember as well, at the end of the day, this is an interesting situation in that it's not something that they need to learn from, because this is a one-off. It's not something they're going to then, we'll do this better next year, because they're hoping that they don't have to do this next year. That kind of thing. I mean, we've been talking on the show for the last couple of over the course of the weekend about the fact that I feel that the panels needed to be enjoyed and watched, and the numbers need to be there to encourage them to basically give us what we've been asking for years, which is streamed content from the show. But maybe it is something to learn, and I mean, certainly touching on the point that I think it was Karma that said, no, it was Karen that said about the Q&As. That's been a 50-50 split on my social media. It's either been people who've missed it and missed that interaction, or there's been people, I mean, for example, we've got Jason K on the chat, at least no awkward fan Q&A at the end of the panels. I get it. I do get it. I mean, we've seen enough panels where they've just gone, well, can you tell us what's going to happen this season? And then having 5 people up on the stage go, no, watch the thing. Jesus. So, no, I totally get it. But okay, so let's dive into certainly my thoughts of what my pros and cons were for this year, and of course we'll start with the pros. Like I say, I'm going to go through. I've got some headlines, I've got some comments, and then guys, do jump in. Let me know what you feel about what I've chosen. First up, let's talk about it. It is the panels. I mean, for me, it was the major content of what was provided. And the pros for myself was just the sheer range of content, just the from literature to LGBTQ in young readership, from a lot of comics content to the films and television stuff, which we'll get into, of course. Just the breadth and the depth of the content was just, for me, it was just stunning. I wasn't too sure what we could have expected, but what we actually got was, I thought, for me, mind-blowing. Anyone? Thoughts?
Oh, yeah. When it comes to the panels, I mean, I was surprised that my top pick for my favorite panel was the one about cardboard superheroes. I don't know if any of you caught that.
I did.
But it's 15 minutes long, but at the end of it, you become fans of these two brothers that have embarked on this journey on making these cardboard sculptures. You know, it's an amazing presentation, and it was well produced. You know, it was like, and it was genuine, and you just fall in love with their passion for it. So, you know, in a an environment like this where it's online, I think a lot of the panels have more of a chance to, they're more on an even playing field. So I think a panel like this has more of a chance to shine.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there was so many topics that was just overboard. I'm sorry about this. We've got the comments coming up, and it is now right over the top of Aaron's face, which is so unfortunate. We are blocking your mind. Trust me, I'll give it a minute. But they skipped the usual topics, even if they didn't have the number of panels they would usually have. I suspect it was a case of they had the submitted panels. They just emailed everybody and went, arrange something, film something, do it on Zoom, just get it to us. If it's something you can do, just get it done. And I suspect that's what it was just a case of emailing everyone and just quickly going, right, we've got 3 weeks, can you get something in, please? Right. And so it's more a case of who replied. So for me, but no, just the range of content was just impressive.
Can I talk about?
Yeah, go.
No.
Go.
I was going to say my day job is for and not in a big major way, but it's for a big media company that rhymes with Schlicky Schlaus, shall we say? And one of the things that that I think I like the most about panels, like Marvel's Next Big Thing panel, was all about, a drawing lesson and things like that, and Cardboard Superheroes was all about interacting and learning, and I think that. Giving people an opportunity to interact with the material and the content isn't something you can really do at Comic-Con anymore. It's not 2005. You can't really wander the floor anymore. And it's very hard to have those one-on-one experiences. And those experiences where you get to make something, you get to learn about the media, and you get to really sit down one-on-one. And I think that was, with the range of content that they had and the fact that they encouraged people to be interactive, that's something that needs to be celebrated.
Sure. We've actually had a correction. This is from somebody who actually submitted a panel. This is from Marty Brett. They didn't accept everyone's panel ideas. That's interesting. I would have. I mean, obviously they curate the panels as usual for what you get at Con, but I would have thought they would have just. You can't fill the internet, so you've got the space. Let's give the every opportunity and every platform an open opportunity to express themselves. But okay, that's what's happened. Okay, fine. The next point I put up was diversity, and really getting into some macro discussions of some very important conversations that need to happen, and they covered, like I mentioned, the LGBTQ in comics, a fair number of black and minority panels being represented as well. I thought it was a really strong lineup. Anyone's take on that? What was your thoughts when you saw the panel list and saw what they were putting together?
That's what really got me. That's what grabbed hold when I started seeing the diversity in the mods. For instance, like my favorite thing is Saturday morning cartoons, and when I saw the panel and I'm looking at the panel host, and I'm like, wow. She looks like me. And she's talking about Saturday, and she's very knowledgeable. So it's pretty cool to see that diversity in mods for all these panels. Yeah.
Cool. Like I say, any comments and any questions, dive in. Any thoughts on what I picked, do let me know. But those impressed me. I also thought it was great that it was proactive. It could have very easily have been something which was just lots of legacy panels, lots of just flat discussion panels, but there was lots of information that was launched and released. The entertainment and comic book sites were kept busy. There was lots of new trailers. There was new information about season launches. There was new books that were being announced. I thought that was good. I thought that was... I mean, if it's pre-recorded, it could be something which is stilted by time. But this wasn't. There was definitely a feeling like the standard San Diego Comic-Con where it was something that they were announcing stuff, which I thought was great. Aaron, what was your take on that?
I agree. I think a lot of the panels still seemed relevant. This just speaks to CCI's ability to curate such a large array of panels. So kudos to them.
Yeah.
Can I play devil's advocate here? Because on the one hand, I think that they really did the fact that they managed to get the boys announcement, the fact that they managed to get the New Mutants announcement, and the fact that they managed to get so many other announcements in from multimedia was great. But I noticed a couple of people on my timeline talking about how we didn't get any new comic book launches. And I don't know, I admittedly think that DC might be saving stuff for fandom, but Marvel, as much as I enjoyed Marvel's interactive panel, Marvel did not announce anything, which was kind of disappointing.
I think it's difficult. I mean, for myself, I thought they did as good a job as possible, considering that we are talking books which should have been released 2 months ago. We are talking a very staggered release timeline in the comics industry, so it's stuff that people already kind of know about because they've heard about it 2 months ago. It's now just only coming out into the stores. But I mean, there were a couple. IDW did a couple of good announcement panels. Even though they didn't cover the fact that the conversation was being held by a publisher who no longer is with the company. That was unfortunate timing. Yeah, that's just the downside of the draw, unfortunately. A couple of comments that are coming. The Blade Runner book as well.
I missed that. There's a Blade Runner comic. Ooh, okay, sorry, I didn't know that.
It is within arm's reach. I could. Oh yes, it's been put together by Titan. It's very, very good. It's really good. It's really good.
That illustration. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got the first 6-7 issues. No, it's stunning.
It's a big advertisement to pay more attention to the not big two.
And she's female Blade Runner.
Yeah. It's a very impressive book, very good. The guy who edits it, which is David Leitch, has done a lot of stuff for British comics over the years. Good friend of mine, and he's got involved, and he's editing it. It's an excellent job. We've got somebody who's joining us. We've got Brainwise, who's joining us under his name. He is muted. Hello. There you go. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine. How you doing, man?
Fine, thank you. Tell you what, we'll go this way, so at least then you can introduce yourself. Brian, let everyone know who you are, and certainly let everyone know about your history with Comic Con, because I mean, every single time I've gone, I've seen you there because you love the show.
So I'm known as Brainwise. I am currently an underemployed interfaith minister here in Southeast PA. After I got laid off from a tech writing gig last year, I went back to grad school. But Comic-Con, we've been going to Comic-Con since 2011. I'd always wanted to go. Had no idea that my wife, Danger Daphne, had any interest in this kind of thing. Came to me out of the blue and said, hey, a bunch of my friends are going to this thing called Comic-Con. Would you want to go too? Best wife ever. What can I say? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. So this would have been our 10th in a row. We're still counting it because it's virtual. But, yeah, we've been going since 2011.
The amount of people are counting it. Yeah, the amount of people that are counting it. Oh my word! Cool. Well, listeners, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You're kind of joining us, kind of mid-conversation, so hopefully you'll catch up and you'll get an idea of what we're doing. We're doing kind of like pros and cons, and so far we're covering the panels. Like I say, I felt it was very proactive, and we've kind of covered that. But also, I mean, we've kind of touched on this as well. Just the amount of comic content, the representation of the amount of comics stuff was just brilliant. The ongoing argument.
Actually, if you follow Comic Spectrum, he attends nothing but comic panels, and he'll post about it almost every year about all the panels he's attended. So it's always there, but it probably doesn't get as big a push as some of the other things. And so this time around, because you can go to multiple things whenever you wanted to, it was really in your face as far as how much they had.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very impressive. I mean, you often have that conversation about, it's not for comics anymore. Comic-Con's not for comics anymore. And then you look through the listings even prior to this year, and it's like 60, I mean, I did the math, it was like 67%, and it was 73% last year of comics content in the panels. The comics are there if you look. And I thought there was a lot of comics content here. I mean, I did a post on it. It was just wall-to-wall comics, and it was really, really good to see, really heartening to see. Anyone who wants to jump in on that?
I fully agree with you on that. Just all the different publishers coming in and having, it was so much easier to have the creators come in as well, because they were just zooming in from their own rooms. And with one of the Jack Kirby panels, this is the first time you could see Alex Ross attend a Comic-Con panel, because he won't go anywhere near that convention center during the actual convention.
I enjoyed watching that panel, if anything, because as anyone who watches this on a long-term basis knows, my relationship with Alex Ross is problematic at best, but I'm a fan. I am a fan of what he does. So no, it was great. If anything, it was great to watch that panel because Mark Venier can talk, and it was fun to watch a curator of the Jack Kirby Museum and Alex Ross try and get a word in edgeways. That was impressive. That was impressive. So that was cool. Okay, let's.
About the Shazam connection. that was new to me.
Okay, so that's the panels. I personally thought it was very, very impressive. The Eisner Awards. I've put this in the pros because, as Phil Lamar said right at the beginning of the top of the show, it's ironic that in the year that we have SDCC at home, more people would probably be watching the Eisners
Award,
than would usually be seeing it in the room at the Indigo on the Friday night. I thought that was it was encouraging. It was great to see, and I think more people and the fact that it got more eyeballs on these creators was very, very impressive.
Yeah, and it was over before I even finished my beer. So.
Oh my, yes. I had no idea what the format was going to be, and I decided I'll do what I usually do. I will actually live tweet the Eisners, and it was around, I think it was category 4 where the cramps started in my left hand because it was a case of here's the nominees and here's the winner. Congratulations. Next category. Yeah. And I just went, you are not doing it like this. No! And they just blitzed through it. Blitzed through it. Did anyone watch the Eisners? I know Aaron did. Anyone else?
Yes, I did. And what's interesting is that when Phil Lamar, I guess the introductor, the one that introduced him, this is when I finally realized that Phil Lamar was Marcus in Pulp Fiction.
You're not the only one. It was me as well.
I didn't know that. So I had to pause the Eisner Awards to go check that out, the clip out. And sure enough, it's Phil Lamar. So
yeah,
I love learning things at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it was very impressive. It speaks volumes as well about the Eisners because you had Stan Sakai winning 3. Mm-hmm. You had also getting the Hall of Fame as well. You had Louise Simonson getting into the Hall of Fame, and I dug these up today. I'll just go screen so people can see them. Yeah, I got my Bill Watsons, I got my Calvin and Hobbes out because cool. I have squealed 3 times at the Eisners, and that would be when Dave Gibbons and Karen Berger got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I squealed like a good un when Bill Watson got inducted. Get in! Creator of Calvin and Hobbes, why he's not been in there since before, I've no idea.
Marvin,
yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool. But no, the actual presentation itself, the fact that also the Eisners as well really does a good job of celebrating new and books that people may not know about. So it's a way of opening up people's eyes beyond Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, people in capes hitting each other.
It's people like me, which I'll own.
Listen, I have books where people in capes are hitting each other, but there's other books as well. So it was good.
As Jackie Estrada said, use it as a shopping list, right?
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. Very, very, very good. Very, very cool. So yeah, the Eisners were definitely on my plus list. Reaching a bigger audience as well. Yeah. It was just so impressive to have that happen. Right, the exhibition floor. To be the reason why I wanted to bring this one up is because purely because of how they also ran the links. It was a case of it wasn't running anything within a window. You didn't buy stuff within the CCI portal. It sent you to the actual creators and the vendors' sites. It sent traffic their way, and anything that does that, I will applaud left, right, and centre. Anything that gets traffic and sales on on their own sites, result. I'm down with that.
Oh, and just like the real thing, a lot of the creators kept their artist alley or booth number up in their Twitter or Instagram handles.
Not enough did that.
Yeah, but a bunch of them did.
Yeah, we could have had more people doing that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, we're going to talk about the virtual aspect of the con, and we've got one or two people have already made their comments. We'll dive into that in a minute. But let's have a look at this. Yeah, I just thought it was very impressive. I mean, did anyone get the chance to have a look at the exhibition floor on the site? What did you think?
Well, I mean, the fact that they made it available is a pro, but I think the way they executed for me was a con. I mean, all the links and stuff could have been first level. You know, why drill down even more? I think that prohibits a lot of people from actually purchasing things from the actual artists or exhibitors or people from small press.
Well, we're going to get into that. That is one of my cons, so we'll get into it. But I mean, certainly on a positive note, I thought it was great to have as many people as they could represent. Obviously, they just went through their email list, the ones that were going to be having a table anyway, and just going, come on then, just all you have to do is send us your links, send us some images.
There's a slightly, and I'm not going to darken this with dark positivity, but there's another positive that I think people need to realize is that with all the weird stuff going on with the U.S. Post Office and the Postal Service, having this extra being able to buy online and stuff gave a lot of people a boost, and that's also going to benefit the Post Office. Yeah. Because, granted, I think a lot of people need to be very patient and with the vendors and the writers or the vendors and the creators and stuff who are sending stuff out. But the fact that there was this sudden big boost of people purchasing things online, that's a big positive because that's going to draw more attention to that issue. It's a little dark, but at the same time, you know, people do need to be aware that not only did you buy something and help pay someone's bill, but you also probably provided support to an essential service.
Absolutely. I mean, even over here in the UK, we've been hearing about the efforts to pretty much torpedo the US Postal Service, and any way that you can support that is very much impressive. Leanne D, I could not access the exhibition floor from my iPad. Really? Okay, I didn't notice that. I didn't check my iPad. It's an old iPad Mini. It's cracked. I don't use it that often. So okay, that's an interesting note because I was going through on my laptop. Andrew Dickinson should have been direct links. And he's also mentioning perhaps add 3 weeks to any dispatch times. I mean, also just for sheer volume, I think, which has been generated by having the world suddenly show up and check out what you're doing. Clydine Nee's joining us as well, just to represent as well. I am going to say hello to Clydine, especially because, of course, she's the person that runs Artist Alley for CCI. And certainly we've been talking about the exhibition floor. What has been done with curating that has just been very, very impressive indeed. Welcome along, Clydine. Hopefully you take our comments as constructive criticism. I'll preface with that. So we'll go with that. Okay. The exhibition floor was very impressive. I also liked it was a solid breakdown of different vendor types as well. Very much like the original floor as well. So you had your artist alley, you had your vendors, you had your media exhibitors, you had your gaming. It was nicely controlled and people could find what they wanted relatively easy, certainly from the list of vendors. I will get into the map, but we'll get into that later because it was something else. Leanne D, it's only my internet access laptop and desktop have both died and don't have the cash to replace. I'm suspecting because that's what she was with her using the iPad. Okay. The AtHome Experience was another very big positive for me. The way that Comic-Con did what it could to make this something that people could enjoy and download. And I mean, I quite liked the samples that we would usually hear coming through the tannoy. I thought that was rather cool. The badges, of course. I didn't download mine because my printer hasn't got any ink in it. So I didn't actually print off a badge this year. But no, lots of people did on the on social media. Definitely, it was a lot of fun. Did anyone download their badges?
Yep.
I downloaded,
Carolyn?
but I didn't print it.
We even made badges for Traveling Mocha and Skeptical George, the little traveling monkeys that come with us to Comic-Con. So they had their own badges too.
Aww,
That's so cool.
cute.
That's so cool.
I didn't download mine, but that's only because as press, like I wasn't entirely. And also it did make me sad. I mean, I got hit. I always get hit with the con panic like preview night, and then this one though was mostly just a little bit of sadness. But I can always go back. The great thing though is I can always go back and print it out.
Yeah.
I just pretended to be professional.
You and me both. I did that.
Letters.
I get what you're saying as well, Carolyn, because my Caroline pretty much stuck her head in the ground this week. This was going to be our big return to Comic-Con. She was very upset that we weren't going and upset that it wasn't happening. So Caroline has just gone la 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 all week, and I can imagine there's been a lot of that. But those that have leaned into it, I thought the at-home experience really did kind of help out with that, with the downloadable assets and the badges and all the samples and the clips. I think they could have done more with the social media, more videos leading up to it. Perhaps there was a couple of them that were dropped like 2 days before. I think they could have done a bit more of a ramp up on that, but there we go.
And the swag. Amazon really tried to bring the authentic Comic-Con experience by having the boys swag and everything else. And it was just like being there, because the minute you found out about it and you got there, you didn't get a darn thing. So it was exactly like being in an Amazon activation. And I say that with all the love in the world, because it was really, really cool to be able to see, like, oh, we're actually going to have free sites, and we'll pay for the shipping, and we'll get you, your tote bag and your shirt and anything else that you want to make. I was really impressed by that, because
unless of course you're outside of North America.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
no.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
We're not bitter.
But seriously, think about the fact that they really didn't have to do anything at all. They could have just said, "We're not having Comic-Con this year. We'll hope for the best for next year." So the fact that they put any kind of at-home experience together, made things available to you. And if you're in the North America, they shipped some of the swag out right away. The fact that they did any of that is amazing if you think about it. So many conventions canceled, and they're crossing their fingers for next year. But these guys, they went. All these gentle beings went. Let's put together some entertainment for all of our fans. Yeah,
we got a couple of comments.
Also,
sorry,
Nickelodeon gave away a patch.
Oh, cool.
We've got a couple of comments coming in. Leanne D. I missed out on all the boys' shirts. I was so sad. Your luck, Leanne. Come on, we need to start. We need to buy, all of us, a big bargain bucket of KFC and sacrifice some decent chicken for you, and kind of let's get some good luck. You're going your way. Veronica, I managed to get the boys' tote, and the BF snagged a tote as well. Odin Pops scored a shirt and sent my mum a tote bag. Amazon was great. So lots of thumbs up to Amazon. And Sarita P got 3 shirts for Amazon the boys. Okay, excellent stuff. Congratulations. Sarita P, the Negan Red foil was given out on Twitter. And Veronica saying, I also got a patch from Nickelodeon. So yeah, there was stuff. There was stuff which, we talked about this on, I think, the show on Saturday. It's just great when you go to Comic-Con and have stuff. I mean, if anything, considering that my first one, 2010, I came back and I didn't have to buy a T-shirt for 12 months. It was fantastic. Yes, the swag has died off in recent years, but it's good to have stuff. So yeah, it was good. Let's see what else we want to do very quickly with the cons. Yeah, let's talk about the partners. Certainly with Twitch, with Amazon Virtual Con. I'm going to talk about these two as certainly the pros, because I think Twitch taking on the gaming, it's the natural fit for that platform. And what Amazon Virtual Con did as well, the page and what they put together was really, really cool and really, really impressive. Dive in, please. Thoughts, impressions? Nope, that was it.
Well, no, I liked the fact that they had, I saw somebody, I missed it, but I saw somebody that they had photo ops just like you would at Comic-Con. So you would just send your image and you'd scan it in, and they had something for upload, and they had something, I don't think it might have been Amazon because it had Baby Yoda in it, but Baby Yoda is great. So anybody could, that's a guaranteed win for me. But the fact that they had photo ops, was also, you got the very extensive swag, because even if it's died off, you could still get a t-shirt at Comic-Con, and most of us just get the photo op. So I thought that was a nice touch. And then, but I think also the one partner that I'm sure that, well, I was going to say IGN was also out there, and I got to give a shout out to IGN because they were helping to stream so much, and they were also working on TikTok, which was a nice deal.
Yeah.
So
I didn't actually bring up IGN because I think I talked about it enough over the course of the weekend, but one or two people were wondering what the point of the IGN live stream was. For me, it was the idea of a curated day. Instead of having to hunt down the links and load them into YouTube, where you're having to wait for the links to go live, and with IGN, you just load it up in the morning and just run through. You had exclusive content on there, you had exclusive interviews, you had some comics and games chatter. It was a full-blown day of stuff. I mean, there was a slight hiccup with the DC at Home panel, where it actually started skipping forward. And I can guarantee, I made the joke was, this is what happens when you go off to the toilet and the cat jumps on the keyboard. Oops. Because it did seem that's what happened. It was just, the cat was just sitting on the enter button and it was just scrolling through. So slightly awkward. But no, I thought IGN did a really good job of just doing Comic-Con light, Comic-Con easy. Comic-Con on easy mode, where you just bang it on and just let it flow. I thought that was cool. I thought it was great.
Jeff Bezos makes like $100,000 a second, so
yeah.
So he can do. Amazon always does Comic-Con well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Andrew did mention. It does help that Twitch is owned by Amazon. Yeah. So yeah, when they've got the money, that's what happens.
Well, yeah. IGN also covered the cosplay aspect, which is a big thing at cons that we miss, and I think we had a lot of people who were posting stuff, but they were doing TikTok streams in the evenings, and they were like doing an hour where you could sit and you could see the images and stuff. And I think one of the things I miss the most is being able to dress up and run around and act like an idiot without people looking at me and thinking, oh, do I need to call somebody for that person? And that's part of the fun for Comic-Con.
Yeah. Listen, I'm in my mid to late 40s. I don't do TikTok. Does anyone else do TikTok here?
No.
No, I'm over 50.
Fair enough. Okay, there you go. It's only the wee nippers like Carolyn. There you go. There you go. Oh, fantastic. Let's have a look at this. What else we got? Andrew Dickinson is going to be jumping in a lot because I know that he's got a number of thoughts on this. IGN is what they and Sci-Fi do for cons anyway. It was a stream for a single stage. Yeah, good point. I mean, at the end of the day, the production team, they were booked for that week anyway. It's not like they were able to take the week off. So all they had to do was just set it up, get a vision mixer, and away they went. Yeah, absolutely. Marcy Brett, Adult Swim on Twitch was nice when it was working, but many of us had audio dropping out and no games to play in a fun zone. And Andrew English, what's TikTok? It's what the kids are doing. Yeah. Yes. I'm just sticking to my MySpace page. Shush. Right. So yeah, I thought it was very, very cool. There we go. Right. So those were the pros, which kind of then leads us on to the cons, because there were a couple of nitpick things, and there's going to be a lot of this stuff that you can just take as nitpicking. But we'll see what you thought of what I got into. So let's get into the cons. And for myself, just the accessibility of the panels, the fact that you had to click around and do a lot of refreshing to get to the panels. All of them went live. They were all on on private, and they were all timed, and they were all ready. And literally the second the clock clicked round, 5-6 seconds later, they were ready to go. But the YouTube page on YouTube took a good couple of minutes to get its act together. If you went directly to the My Shed page and clicked on the link, then perhaps you got directly into it. It seemed very much a case of you were having to kind of pull some layers away to get the panel up and running. It wasn't as clean and as simple, and the flow wasn't there in the full degree. I mean, I don't know what anyone else. I mean, I heard a there. Was that you, Carla?
Well, I myself use the Sketch app, and so I had no problems. But seeing as how if you went through YouTube directly, I can see how things can get jumbled up. So I haven't checked out their YouTube page. Maybe did they put them in playlists?
They put them in daily playlists as well.
Okay.
And like I say, you kind of went to the videos page, which put them in most recently uploaded order, and they're always hitting the F5 or just hitting refresh just to get the page looking. I didn't necessarily use that, but I was just doing it just to see what the refresh was, and it did take its time. But that's, I suspect, a YouTube thing. The actual, like I say, the videos themselves, they were up. They've been up on the server for ages. It's just a case of just going live. I mean, Aaron's just talked about the way he did it. I mean, how did everyone else find their videos?
I like
Aaron did.
What's that, sorry?
Please go ahead, Carla.
That's one thing I like the way Funimation did with their virtual con. It was all in one site, and they had different rooms. So and everything was right there. There was the swag link. There was the cosplay link. There was actually a moderator for the con itself that was live, and there was interaction in the chat room. That's the only thing is I didn't like the whole clicking around, because I was on my phone with the reminders that here's your schedule, but then I'm looking at them on my iPad, so I'd have to click on the schedule link and then wait for the history to come up to go onto my iPad to find it that way. So yeah, it was kind of awkward in that case.
Well, for the first 2 days, I was using my Google Calendar, because I went through my schedule, and those things all went to my calendar, and then I could see what was coming up, what was double booked, and the YouTube links were right in there as well. But by the time Friday rolled around, not everything was refreshing to my calendar, so I had to go back to my schedule and just click directly from there.
I was going to say that sounds like a real nice ideal solution, but then you turn around and say the issues. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, Carolyn, what was the method that you used to watch the panels? Did you watch them? Did you watch them live, as it were?
I did. I watched Next Big Thing live. I watched Marvel's Next Big Thing live, but I was lucky enough to have somebody put everything that I needed to attend in a Google spreadsheet, and then I just clicked over and I did a double click. But what I did to make sure that I hit it online is I just sat on my computer and I had 2 different open tabs. So I just, whenever the tab would go, I click refresh, and then I was late on New Mutants, but that was an offline issue. That wasn't anything to do with the thing. But Marvel's panels came through. But do you think it might have been, asking people, do you think it might have been an issue, like a technical issue in terms of bigger producers versus smaller ones? Because, everybody talks about how well Amazon did, how well Funimation did, but the smaller panels with people like that were just purely being supported by Comic-Con, was that something that you guys noticed? Because
No, I think that they all went live at the same time. So in terms of the up on YouTube element, it was very democratic. There wasn't any preference over one or the other.
They were all recorded back in June, so they're probably waiting to go. So it's there's no different. The only difference the studios would have made would have been possibly in how some of them look, but even in that case, not everybody has their own studio at home. We're not all Hall H show at home, so we don't all have microphones.
I hear you. Leanne D, we had YouTube load on the TV, didn't have too many problems, found the panels rather quickly. Excellent. Solicitor Smeg, I just used the CCI schedule link and it worked fine, but I was on my desktop, if that means anything. Yeah, literally the second the top of the hour clicked over, the clicks went live. Leanne D used my shed to see what I wanted to watch for the day, and Odin Pops, I was a moderator for SDCC watch parties. Just glad I was able to volunteer for Con this year. That's something I've not talked about. I've kind of talked about. I'll get into it, but the actual watch parties. Okay, but we'll get into that. Okay, so that's the accessibility issue. Aaron, I think we talked about it. The production value. You can't just record a Zoom call, upload it to a Google Drive, and have someone at the other end stick the Comic-Con bumper top and tail and just upload it. You can't just do that. There are a couple of panels. There was one I watched today. Mark Serby, if he's watching at some point, he knows because he pointed it in my direction. It was basically a podcast which they recorded and they just submitted. So it was stuff that was happening that day and they were just having a chat. Instead of actually talking about the content and talking about the topic and actually having a narrative and a flow for the conversation to take place, it was just there was a couple that was just particularly poor, and there's a lot of people out there that don't seem to know how to use Zoom. Is it me? It was particular. I don't know what people thought of some of the panels. Without naming names, or you can name names, who cares? We can do it. Go for it. But if there's any,
yeah, I think a lot of the panels that I gravitated toward, obviously, were ones that were focused. So I think a lot of the panels had too many people on them, and so trying to fit, that sort of conversation within 45 minutes, it's tough. So I think the ones that actually work. The ones that are more conversational, and that's one-on-one, like the Charlize Theron one, or that one is a good example of a panel that was well done because both of them, they sort of fed off each other, and it was a really good conversation, and it was a good topic to talk about. So,
the platform that I use for this particular stream is Livestream. So it's not. It's a StreamYard. Sorry, Livestream is the thing that separates it off to different channels. But StreamYard is a platform that I use. It was the same platform that DC at Home used. And you could tell because they were doing lots of stuff with graphics. They were bringing stuff on screen. It's like I can isolate somebody here. We can talk. I can drop out of the conversation. I could let these four just talk, and I could bugger off for an hour. It'd be great. It would be a so much better show. But just the idea of what we can do with graphics and whatever. But Zoom, there were some of the panels they just hit record and just left it. And after about the fourth or fifth, I was getting very weary and very tired of just looking around screens. Right.
You have to find interesting ways to break up, the monotony. Otherwise, you won't hold people's attention.
Sure, it was very, very difficult. But the other comment which we got, Leanne D is saying it got somewhere all over the place, and some of the audio killed me. Okay, I think I tweeted this yesterday. I've watched enough live stream video conferencing that I think my hearing is actually getting damaged by the audio compression that is happening across the board. It's hard work. Hard work. I mean, I think we can look at the kind of the variations between the two. If you get somebody who just sits down with an editing suite and just spends time on it, the Star Trek universe, the Bill and Ted panel, which looked amazing. The boys panel, I'd like to know how they actually did that, because everyone was looking to camera. It was all in focus. The sound was all nice. I'd like to know what platform they used actually, because I'm a bit jealous. But yeah, it was very, very cool. I mean, was there any offending articles out there that kind of really caught your attention? I mean, Carolyn, was there any that really caught your attention?
Okay, so you might not want to call on me about this, because I'm of the mind that, that if you think back to before, because I've been doing this since I was 3 months old, so I remember being a kid and I remember being in the really old school panels. And if you think back to it, apart from planning issues, what we saw were people making do with the best of what they had. So apart from, I think that audio, and I think that people could stand for, I think people could obviously stand to take a class. There's a lot of stuff. Granted, Jeff Bezos does make $1 billion a second, but there's a lot of stuff that you can buy on Amazon. Ring lights, mics. I bought a mic over the pandemic.
I want a ring light. I want a ring light.
You can get a good one for $25 on Amazon. And again, we need to find other alternatives to make it cheaper. But what we saw was, we can nitpick all we want, but what we saw were people that were ultimately working with the best of what they have. The issue is less for me with the content and more, I think, with the providers. Zoom in particular, I have some issues with Zoom that don't have anything to do with Comic-Con, but Zoom in particular, and using the free one and only being able to record for up to 45 minutes. And if it's a party of 300 or over, you're cut at the 45-minute mark. But
unless you pay for it, is it $9.99 a month or something?
15.
Yeah, but
15.
At the lowest option.
There's some other. The thing I want to get at though is that if you have there's people who need to, that you could take the time to learn the technical know-how, which is, if you want to be in this, you should. I mean, my first thing with Leonard, I think I was on my phone, and so you learn by doing. But I really think that it's the providers, the the streaming services, et cetera, that need to do it. And also, if you're passionate about this, yeah, I mean, if you're passionate about this, then take the time to learn and take the time to find a streaming service, like Leonard said, that's StreamYard. This is the cleanest stream I've ever been on. This is truly impressive. So I think it was less about issues with that, and more issues with people that just, were trying to fumble through a system that they didn't know. But stop using Zoom.
Yeah, it was the amount of comics panels where it was like the editors or the publishers who were going, and we're now going to show some pages from the upcoming book. Hang on. Click, and it's not. It showed up in a window, and it was hard work. It was hard work in places. But there we go.
There were a few other smaller comic publishers that were like, they basically admitted, I didn't really plan for this. So I don't have some of this information. So do you guys want to finish right now, or is there anything you guys want to talk about? I'm like, I
think you and I watched the same panel. I think you and I watched the same panel. I think I know which one we're talking about there.
Yeah. You can't tell me that you can't. Sorry, I was going to say, you can't tell me you've never been in a panel though where people run out of content and they're like, okay, well we're done early, and everybody will make a joke. I mean, I can think of a couple of panels that I went to with smaller publishers. I think it might have been last year, it might have been the year before, but people are like, I finished, so what do you guys want to talk about? And then they'll put their feet up. That's not to excuse the idea.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Unless,
yeah. Unless I'm moderating, in which case you can't shut me up and people are telling me to, okay, you've had your 45. Get the hell out of there. Yeah. There you go.
But I have more questions. Let me ask.
I've had that as well. Marcy Brett, saw a few panels where nothing was properly planned and severely needed editing. Yeah, I think just dropping it into Sony Vegas or whatever editing suite you've got and just tidying it up a little bit. I don't know. There's just, like I say, these are niggles. These are niggles. So let's crack on. Thumbnails. I'm sorry, but it's just, for me, come on. It doesn't take much to knock up a thumbnail and load it into YouTube. So you can just, if you go onto the actual Comic-Con YouTube page, it's a mess. Sorry. Okay. Right. There you go. That's me. There's Carolyn, who's just like, really? Is this what he's talking about? But
I haven't seen that.
No,
from the YouTube standpoint, I totally agree, because I mean that's how people find stuff on YouTube.
Just to tidy it up. Tidy it up. Balance of programming. See what I was trying to talk about here. I think also. That's what I'm trying to work out. I think that's it. I think it was just a case of sending out some kind of PDF with a style guide and just saying this is what we would prefer a Comic-Con panel to look like. There's your time limit. Here's, I mean, if you want to editorialize, if you want to put a message at the top, let's see, just kind of talk a way of kind of streamlining things a bit, because there was a real disparity between your Bill and Ted's all the way down to literally someone doing a slideshow, which I have seen. I watched this morning. There was one from the Sunday, and it was literally just a slideshow, and you can hear the clip.
Oh my god!
Yeah. There's just a balance of programming for me. Okay, and the use of YouTube technology, right? And this is leading on to the conversation. I don't know if I actually brought it up. Oh no, we'll come back to that. There is the ability to do something called YouTube Premieres, which is the ability to schedule a YouTube a video, load it up, and it starts playing at a certain time, and you are there or you're not, and it basically will run through. You can scrub back, but you can't scrub forward. You are watching it like a TV show. There are Q&As. The chat room is open. There's a discourse. There's an interaction. Could it have been so difficult to put these up as premieres? Because one thing that I felt was really missing was a Q&A or any kind. All the comments are locked. You cannot discuss. You cannot. It's not opening up the conversation, which surely what a panel should be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a panel's all about, isn't it? It's to get a conversation going with your audience. So just the idea of using.
Some of them expected that, because more than one occasion, one of the moderators would say, hey, if you have a question, put it in the chat down below, and you see somebody else go.
Really, I didn't know about that. So it came from when they actually sent the submissions out. Wow.
When they were filming it, they thought that there was going to be comments that they'd be able to say, even during that time. They're like, even right now, there's no live comments. So if you didn't submit the questions ahead of time, there's no questions for that Q&A. So again, that speaks to your whole notion of, let's get a style guide out there. Let everyone know how we're going to be doing this.
I mean, I can understand the idea of keeping trolls at bay, but go on, Caroline.
Well, no, I was gonna. I'm sorry. I'm probably talking way too much.
No. I just jumped over what you were going to say then, didn't you?
No, but I was going to say, isn't that might have been a concern, because Comic-Con was widely accessible for the first time, and you would have a lot of people naturally on YouTube who would be like, oh, butts, boobies, and they would be putting that stuff in there. So I think if you wanted to include a style guide, Leonard, you would have to include something about modding, like what you'd do for something like this, or what you'd do for something like super chats and live chats on YouTube, because there's people. Like, what I've noticed YouTubers will do is YouTubers will have fans, and then they'll promote their fans to mods, and the mods will mod their chats while they're playing, while they're streaming something, like while they're streaming Overwatch or while they're streaming Animal Crossing. But also you would get thousands of people, and it would be, you'd have to have at least 20 or 30 people combing through the lines. And there would be people who would just go on there and be like, butts. So
yeah, let's talk.
You had to deal with that with their live stream comments, and it was ugly.
Yeah, let's talk about what kind of comments would have come up with the Joss Whedon panel if that had been uploaded. That would have been. But then again, it would have been a car crash. But it would have been the car crash. Let the car crash happen. Let's just. We know the trolls are going to be there. Just let them go. Let them play. Do what they need to do. But just cutting the conversation dead, I felt was a bit off. But there we go. Mods on Twitch are almost essential if you have more than 50 people watching, says Andrew Dickerson. Was that you agreeing, Carolyn, or just having a bit of a stretch?
bit of a stretch, but also I do agree. I think you know, it's very easy to say let the trolls do their thing, but there's also, especially lately, and Leonard, I know you've seen this on Twitter, and I know there's probably a number of us who've seen this on Twitter, that there are a number of people who have turned trolling and that sort of thing into the kind of art form where people will feel very threatened. Sure. And as much as I think we would like to believe that these are people who wouldn't, you know, who would just kind of retreat into the ether, they're pretty emboldened right now, unfortunately. There's a lot of threats against people of color. There's a lot of threats against women and a lot of threats against LGBT Americans and LGBT people. And trolling has become a professional business for a lot of people. So if they're going to do this again, and then you'd need like at least 100 mods to clear that out and to make sure that you could hear the questions.
Sure. I mean, the one example that I turn to is Fat Man Beyond, which has a sizable audience. It's got, I mean, it was pointed out by Leanne D as the kind of audience that the Comic-Con panels have been getting versus, so like the Xbox launch or Fat Man Beyond, which got 18,000 views in the space of 24 hours. It has somebody there to go through and cherry pick. It has a moderator. It has someone controlling it, and I think it can be done, personally. But that's just me. But there we go. That's something I pulled up.
Yeah.
And last but
less headache.
go on. Yeah. Aaron, was there anything you want to add very quickly before we move on? Thoughts?
I mean, just a quick thought. I think if we are going to improve how panels can get moderated and have access to Q&A, I think maybe we may have to have less panels so that they can put more effort into creating that system. So that's just a quick thought.
Good point. Okay, and last but not least, can we please have 18+ versions of the Kevin Smith and the Boys panels, please? Because I'm sorry, but I was watching the Kevin Smith panel, and the amount of bleeping that was going on, it was actually starting to sound. It was starting to sound like the heart monitor that he was wearing 2 years ago. Come on. There are ways of putting age-restricted videos up. Just upload them both. Because look, you're going to invite Kevin Smith. You know what you're going to get. You do a panel about the boys. You know what you're going to get. Come on, let's embrace it, or at least let's put an 18+ version of the panel up. Come on. So
you
there you
go. I want to go back to, I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or what, but I guess it goes with the panels and the use of technology. But did anyone? Oh goodness, I think it was the main Star Trek panel where the CBS. What am I going to say here? The CBS content bot prevented them from showing some of their previews. So
yes,
the CBS bot that goes out there looking to like slam down unauthorized content was shutting down the official CBS panel trying to show trailers. Yeah,
it was. I think it was the IGN. It wasn't the standard feed.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was the IGN feed, and the live one. It got a content strike by Paramount. By the people who put Star Trek up. Yeah, and then also the Cartoon Network panel got completely shut down by a content strike by Cartoon Network.
I didn't know that one.
Oops. Yeah. Oh dear. Never mind. Good point on that one. Good point. There we go. So yeah, there was definitely a slight YouTube hiccup there. Right, site navigation. We talked about the fact that people could get to a virtual exhibition floor, but my God, it was hard work.
Did that keep shifting on you when you tried using it? You know, because I would zoom in to look for it. I go scrolling, and then it would bounce. It was a weird.
It was so blurry. It was. It was. I mean, the actual. Yeah, the exhibition floor was a mess.
Yeah.
Why wasn't Comic Con at home?
A+ for intent, but execution not so much. I think
Yeah,
it was Aaron who said that earlier.
The Comic Con at Home stuff should have been at the CCI homepage. That's the weekend. That's what people are going to go there for. Let's bang it up on the. There just seemed to be some, and not only that, but announcements were being put up on Talkin, and that clicked you to another page, which then clicked you to another page, and next thing you know, you're clicking multiple links just to get to what you were wanting to.
Yeah,
it was a hell of a mess. Hell of a mess.
If it wasn't for the unofficial blog, I don't think a lot of artists would have got attention.
Excellent point.
I am good. Yeah.
They were sharing a lot of the artist tweets. That's great.
Yeah. Well, that's something I'm going to dive into a little bit later. But yeah, the unofficial blog and their supporting of vendors and small artists this year has been exceptional. They've done a staggering job on that, and well done to Kerry and the rest of the team. The other point I pulled up, getting to anything took hunting and multiple clicks and searching. It was such a mess to find stuff. No, I think that's where I am with the site navigation. It was just awful. Andrew Dickinson's been talking about it, and it's a little bit further up, and I'm not going to hunt and find it, but basically he's just saying, I'll say it first to you guys. Have you actually seen this video that's gone round of the virtual Comic-Con in Minecraft? Have you seen this video?
Andrew Dickinson just had that in the comments that it should have been done in Minecraft.
Okay. I mean, if anyone wants to jump in and talk about their experience, I'm going to try and find this on my Twitter, because I have saved it as a bookmark. I'm certain I have.
What's Minecraft anyway? I don't know.
It's what kids play when they're not doing TikToks.
Yeah.
Hey, excuse me, we've jumped to Animal Crossing. There's now Animal Crossing.
Yeah, like an Animal Crossing. No, it was Animal Crossing. Sorry, it was Animal Crossing Comic Con. I've got to find it.
Minecraft is basically Bitcoin mapping, so you can spend it on TikTok, right?
That's Bitcoin, sure. There's multiple levels of the internet.
I'm Satoshi Nakamoto, by the way.
I've got to try and find this thing because it was just absolutely mind-blowing. I've got the Holy Crap, which I've saved, which was the I Miss Comic-Con pin, which is now currently on eBay, clocking around the $200 mark.
Wow.
Tell me about it.
Oh,
I'm going to be rich.
Something I have.
Don't you dare, you swines.
Right,
I'm going to...
question for the...
Go on.
I'm so sorry. No, I have a question for the group. Did you guys have any issues with the Funko system?
Oh,
because I know a lot of people who were really upset about how Funko handled everything. And I was just wondering, I never go for the Funko exclusives anymore, so I was wondering what everybody else thought, because I think that, I know there was something that happened, and we'll let that slide, but, did that spark anything for anybody? Because there's a lot of people who are really upset that they missed out on the Black Lightning Funko, and that they weren't able to get what they wanted.
Oh, God.
I don't do the Funko stuff, but I saw so many people tweeting about their issues with it. I was at least peripherally aware of what was going on. So, somebody else have something to say about Funko?
I wasn't. I was determined not to buy anything because I've got no money. So I was determined. But I went on just to have a look, and I thought I'd just hear, because I was seeing a lot of issues online, and it was all to do with the calculating of shipping costs. I managed to get the actual the items into the cart, but then the moment you hit whatever process you were choosing to I then got the spinning blue wheel, and it was there for 56 minutes, that was an interesting 4 o'clock in the morning.
I think you should call attention to Andrew Dickinson's latest comment.
Which one? The if you sack all your PR department?
That's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that's a good point. Let's get rid of a large amount of our staff. That was not a good idea.
And then
Karma,
the last
Karma,
minute,
what'd you
we got
think?
the most popular one.
That's what it. Well, that's one thing is when I guess can I mention Sully? I don't know.
Sure.
Well, because I believe Sully when he said, "Hey, we fixed it where we're trying to get less bots, to get all our items." I believed him. So then I was up for getting just the Black Lightning pop. That's all I wanted. And I was so shocked that I actually got to the cart part. I'm like, what? Maybe he's right because they had two CAPTCHA security levels. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it was only limited to one person, one item per person. So I only had one Black Lightning, and I thought, okay, cool. And then I saw the spinning shipping option, and didn't even dawn on me to check social media to see if it was not just me.
Oh no.
It was certainly not just you.
But it wasn't, because then it's when I started seeing my friends, groups, and everybody's saying, "Are you stuck on the shipping option?"
Yeah.
And after 15 minutes, I'm like, "This is ridiculous. This is
Oh no.
why am I waiting for 20 minutes for a pop that I really don't need?"
Because that's the actual Comic-Con experience, though. Waiting in line for 20 minutes trying to get that damn
Disappointment.
thing.
So it was good that I didn't have the disappointments because that's part of the experience. So that was kind of fun.
In that case, you took Comic-Con on,
Yeah.
and you just you enjoyed it in full. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
Authentic.
Yeah. So let me play this then, because this is a video. It was shared on Reddit. This is a virtual. Let me just take it back to the beginning. Come on, you back to the beginning. There we go. This is a virtual Comic-Con.
Oh my god.
You cross a bridge to get in.
Oh,
You've got your pretzels. You've got your panel room. You go through a metal detector.
Oh my god.
You go into the vendors. And there's a big dinosaur. You got trolleys. You got scooters.
Oh, goodness. What is
You
that?
have the bathroom.
That is insane.
that's great.
And so
It's not
the idea.
entirely accurate. You should have the villagers lined up for the bathroom, and then you wait 20 minutes while you're waiting for the people dressed in costume to get out of the bathroom, and then you go into the bathroom. It's
I
close.
noticed that you trying to get in there crossing the bridge. You didn't have all the protesters with their Bible signs out.
Yes, where were the banners? Yes.
Bible thumpers.
Oh my word. Okay, so let's go back to it. Let's crack on with some of the thoughts then.
Yep.
So the next one I came up with was the exhibition floor. Oh, hang on a second, wrong word there. It wasn't very intuitive. It wasn't very user friendly. That whole idea of when you zoomed into the interactive map, it got all blurry. It was a mess. Very low quality map, difficult to maneuver, and it was for me missing a showcase features of creators. Something that I've seen with Thought Bubble. They have had social media where they've highlighted creators and vendors leading up to the event, which means people are getting eyeballs on these creators. I think that there's going to be a lot of vendors on that floor that were going to be missed and
Sure.
hidden away. I feel.
Yeah, the discovery aspect of the exhibition floor was definitely missing.
Yeah.
Where you're going for one thing, or maybe two things, but on the way there you see a few other items, a few other creators like, oh, let me check this out because you've got a sign up that sparks my interest, and that map could not capture that.
No. So yeah, that was my thoughts on that. Let's have a look at what else we went to. Right, yeah, the partners. I mentioned Twitch and I mentioned Amazon. Right, Cena and Tumblr. I know that they were sponsors, but does anyone use Tumblr anymore?
I love that even before Comic-Con, when you were checking out some of the things to sign up, I saw this tweet from you when he was like, so apparently Comic-Con thinks Tumblr's still a thing.
Ridiculous.
I don't think we've used it since 2014.
I think when they really started clamping down on adult material,
Yeah.
anything with a boob, yeah. I think I went on there once just to see what the masquerade ball and how it would be presented, and it was
So you were talking
a
about-
mess.
Yeah. Well, what's Cena?
Right, Cena.
Cena's kind of cool though.
See,
I
well,
thought
Cena.
so.
Well, Cena was watch parties. We've got actually a moderator that's actually watching. The idea was it was a bunch of films that was running throughout the course. If it had been the entrance to the International Film Festival, that would have been cool. But it was just random films, and you're just thinking, okay, why? Frankly. I mean, I got bored of tweet-alongs about 2 weeks into the lockdown, frankly. Cena's, Andrew Dickens saying it was a good idea. I think it was Odin Pops that was is a moderator of it, but I didn't see the point. There we go.
That didn't work.
Yeah. Anything else with the partners? Any other of the tie-ins that anyone spotted that felt worked or didn't work?
Carmen, you said Cedar was kind of cool. What did you
Yeah.
actually have a good experience?
Do you have it on?
well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of a film nerd, marathon nerd. So yeah, I did. I watched the Avenger ones that they had. 2 of them, I think. I did Age of Ultron, and then I watched Captain America's.
I like Age of Ultron.
Oh, I love it. I did the
Age of Ultron's
22
not as bad
movie
as Civil
marathon,
War.
so I was waiting for it. You know, I kind of liked it. You know, I like to chat in and talk and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
can interact with other people who are busy
Yeah.
with you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well,
while you're
yeah, I
watching
mean,
it.
Odin Pops is saying we never broke 100 people in my room. I mean, what was the chat like? I mean, was it a case of, hi, is anybody here?
Making fun of the
hi.
film,
Making fun
you
of
know, basically.
Sounds like Discord.
Yeah.
They,
Exactly.
in that case, they should have put Buffy Once More With Feeling in there then, because that's just custom built for people to hurl insults at.
Leonard, you're bad.
Oh, come on.
He's not bad.
Dawn comes on screen. Dawn comes on screen. Boo! Anyway, that's just me. Okay,
Hater.
fair enough.
A hater.
I'm dead.
Exactly.
Big loving hater.
I'm an old man, is what I am. I'm a grumpy old man. Right, Masquerade Ball.
Oh, yeah, do tell us, Lenny.
Just the way that it was done on Tumblr, I felt was a bit of a mess, because the idea was that they did a small video as an introduction, and instead of a continuous flow, it was very stilted, and I think it's more the limitations of Tumblr. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd have preferred to have seen that on YouTube as an actual presentation, a panel, but the fact that this could have been an opportunity for, just like the Eisners, more people to see and experience the Masquerade Ball, and I think it got kind of gate-walled behind this really crappy platform. Thoughts, anyone? Did anyone actually watch any or see any of it? Or
I'm still watching panels, man.
Were you watching?
I'm still watching panels.
Yeah, I saw a few of my queue as well. No, I actually didn't. I'm just remembering this now. I didn't go back to check out the Masquerade just because the art show on Tumblr was so difficult to get through.
Oh, there was an art show.
Yeah, but like
there you go.
I thought, well,
That kinda
last
says it
year
all.
they had the art show and it was off-site instead of in the sales pavilion. So I thought, oh, this can be great. A lot more people will be able to check out the art show because it's going to be going on, consecutively. It's going to be online there. You can check it out. And then it was on Tumblr, and you guys know what the Tumblr UI is like. You're scrolling forever. Sometimes there's repeating. It was a mess. And I guess if you're just scrolling through because you're checking things out, maybe that's fine. But we knew a few people who had content in the art show, and so we're looking for them, and looking for them, and looking for them. So, yeah,
Oh dear.
yeah. Tumblr was
What a shame.
way to work with that.
What a shame. But yeah, I think we're just talking the actual platform itself more than anything. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
a lot of the artists were great.
Yeah.
I have a thought that
Go on.
I was going to say I have a thought that you guys might hate because it's TikTok again. But if you had people,
I would listen. I'd have signed up for it then.
listen. I'm not a brand representative, but no. What I was going to say was the platform itself is built for short 1-minute videos that demonstrate cosplay, and it's like the guy who was on Twitter who did that really good special effects stuff. That's what people have the opportunity to do. So if they put some kind of system together where if you're in the masquerade, you could make your video and then you smash all the things together on YouTube, because there's compilations of that kind of stuff all the time. And as much as we might disagree with the idea of new platforms like that, that's how you get the younger kids. The people, the younger people, let's put it that way. I don't want to be demeaning to anybody because it is demeaning to be like, this is how you get the kids in. It's demeaning to say that. What it is if you want people to experience it, you go to the platforms people use. They use Snapchat and TikTok. You could easily snap your costume, or you could make a TikTok, and you do the TikTok, you add video. I've gotten more comfortable on TikTok with cosplay, and I never used to feel that way. But you could easily, and Comic-Con, if you're listening and you're planning on doing something like this again, we're hoping no, but still, you could easily go to TikTok, find some way to work with the platform, get the little pieces in. And there's activists that are working on making it broader and more expansive, so you have an opportunity to get different creators, and you just mash them into a montage, and then you let people vote on the montage on YouTube.
That's
you make a great point. You make a lot of sense with that. You're absolutely right that is what the platform is used for, or what that technology is used for, little short snippets. So I got nothing against what you're saying. Yeah.
Can I install it on my Nokia 6310? Being an old person.
You can get that on your BlackBerry.
It's going to show as little pixels, like little digital, 8-bit art.
Fair enough.
That's perfect for TikTok. The art show should have been on something like Comic-Con could have created an Instagram account just for the art show. So when you go to the main page, it looks like a gallery.
Yeah.
And scrolling through that would have been fun, because that's what it's for that visual presentation, as opposed to, somebody's Tumblr post has a few of their items and then all of the reshares and the comments, so you get this post like this then. Yeah.
Why haven't they hired us, guys? Come on. We're right here. We've got these ideas.
Or at least they can
the world as easily.
Or at least they could have made a website and they could have curated using hashtags.
Easily.
Yeah. Clydene's talking about the panels. Isn't it wonderful? It's Monday after the convention, and you can still watch panels for the next few weeks. Absolutely. Yeah. And Solicitor's Meg, and your feet aren't sore. Hang on. Yep. And Andrew saying with 350 panels, I think it will take a few weeks to watch them all. Absolutely. Leanne D, I'm still very grateful that we can watch panels. I have a few to watch. And Leanne D as well, as a manual U-chair user, not having to wheel to a panel has been amazing. Absolutely.
Good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the plus for accessibility, Lenny.
Yes, very much so. I've got a fair few, so let's crack on. The Eisner Awards. I know that we had the person who organises the Eisner Awards watching yesterday. Let's see if she's watching now, because I have a couple of things to say. It was a very rapid presentation. It was just so quick. This is supposed to be the Oscars of the comics industry. It was just done and done. It was just so incredibly fast. The presentation wasn't slick. It seemed very rushed. I don't know. Lack of special guest hosts. That's one of the key things that you often find at the actual presentation. It would have been great to have somebody's coming on and presenting some stuff, or even just doing little skits, just 2 or 3 minutes things to camera, talking about their just some gags to camera. Get John, stick a camera in front of Jonathan Ross for 5 seconds, for God's sake. He'd have done it. The in memoriam. Sorry, let me get rid of that. The in memoriam was missing. We have lost some major people in comics this year, and it would have been good to have had them celebrated. It's a section which does bring down the room, no lie, but it's something that's important. Their work, could have done with having that included. Right, the live stream content. I think it's just more a case of the fact that there was no Q&A, there was no discussion, there was no backwards and forwards. I think that was missing.
Back to the Eisner. Did they focus any time on, like, here's your nominees or here's your winner? They focus any time at all on showing what they won for, what they were nominated for? I don't remember. I was listening in the background because I was mainly in Word Balloons. I was watching Word Balloons feed, so it was on the background. Deidre Daphne was watching it. They're watching the Eisners live, so I didn't see what they were actually showing. Any content?
They didn't show anything. They literally had film art. I mean, they had the slides that they would usually put up on the side screens. But beyond that, I mean, let me just see if I can bring something up, because at least then you'll get an idea of what this was.
That would be tailor-made to say, here are the nominees for lettering, and here's what each of these nominees did.
Yeah.
It just seems a no-brainer to do that.
Yeah. Let me. I mean, this is from the YouTube. So this is direct from the feed, so you can. I'll show you one of the categories, and you can get an idea of exactly how it played out. Let me see if I can just go to a larger screen. There you go.
Stan Sakai.
Yay! Stan Sakai wins. Fantastic. Right, so that's the end of that particular category.
Next up, we have Best Publication Design.
Oh.
And the nominees are, for Grunt, the art and unpublished comics of James Stokoe, designed by Ethan Kimberling. Crazy Cat, the complete color Sundays, designed by Anatina Kessler. Logo A Go-Go,
20
designed
seconds.
by Ryan Hughes. Madness in Crowds, the teeming mind of Harrison Cady, designed by Paul Koppel and Alex Bruce. Making Comics, designed by Linda Berry. And Rusty Brown, designed by Chris Ware.
So we're talking, what, a minute and a half there?
And the Eisner goes to Making Comics, designed by Linda Berry. Congratulations.
And that was it.
Okay.
And that was it.
And their names. And right there, that was a golden opportunity to show this is what we're celebrating about these designs. And they didn't do it.
It was so fat. That was it. That's all they did. And they did that for the... I mean, I'm looking at Carolyn's face.
Have you ever seen those videos
of
the 1990s? Sexual, like the 1990s workplace conduct videos where it's like, yes, here, now we're going to talk about this. What did we do wrong? That's literally what that reminded me of.
You're right. Those are corporate training videos.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that looked like.
Yeah, I was involved with the Tripwire Awards about a month and a half ago, which were supposed to be held at the Portsmouth Comic Con. It was moved online for obvious reasons, and it was admittedly it was the person who actually organised the awards. So it was Joel that put it together. We had videos, we had acceptance videos at the end of each category, and we had a great time. We had some interaction. We had we did the whole thing. Yeah, it just seemed incredibly bizarre. But there we go. Odin Pops is right. At least the hosts were good. He is. Phil Maher's a great host. Yeah.
But they didn't give him any chance to do anything.
No, not really. There was a nice section in the middle with Sergio Aragon's. He was doing the Hall of Fame, so that was good. But yeah, it was very much a case of nominees, winner, next. I just felt there was a wasted opportunity there. But there we go. Oh, hang on a second.
A waste of his talent.
There is that as well. there is that as well. Okay, let's go to the comments again, and a talkback panel. Okay, now I am being picky.
Yeah, I want a talkback panel.
Karma?
I mean,
we don't need a talkback panel. Come on.
Well, I mean,
that's what this is.
This is very true. The one thing that I did a live stream last night with Toby Totolino, who did a tour of the convention center. I set up that stream in about 10 minutes on live stream. It's not difficult to do this, to just have something where you can just have a bit of conversation and have again that moderator and just get some feedback and some dialogue going. That's all I wanted.
Okay.
That's all I wanted. Bottom lip out. There you go.
Standing in front of a convention hall, pouring his heart out, saying, "This is all I want from you."
I mean, I think it all comes back to the whole idea of a dialogue backwards and forwards between CCI and the attendees. And I mean, Karma, what's your thoughts? I mean, was it needed?
Yeah, I think so. Just like that's why I liked Funimation Con. What they did is in between the panel times and everything, there was an actual moderator for the actual con itself.
Yeah.
And then they would keep advertising. Hey, check out the swag link right there. Hey, check out the masquerades going on right now, right there. Check out the cosplay, And these were actually live people talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's what was missing, I think.
Yeah. Aaron, thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they could have had a separate channel that was live, maybe for most of the day, almost like a telethon.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith would have done it. He would have talked the whole time. He would have handled the whole thing all weekend.
Well, why that? Yeah.
We didn't let him do anything for the show. Let him do this.
Why he wasn't live, I don't ask. I don't even start me on that one. Right, the hashtags. Which hashtag did you use by any chance?
Comic-Con AT@Home.
Yes.
Same one as me. I know the official one was Comic-Con @Home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many. It was ridiculous. But I quite like the idea of there was a SD cat home. So there was a cat somewhere. I quite liked the idea of there was just a cat around. So let's for this one they should have got rid of the toucan and had a Comic-Con cat. But there we go. And that lack of lack of fan interaction, no social media interaction.
I like that idea. Bring the cats back.
Yeah. And the idea of no social media interaction. The fact that there was no backwards and forwards on Twitter, but I think that's just down to lack of staff. At the end of the day, they are running on a skeleton crew at the moment. They don't have that many bodies in the offices at the moment. So yeah, there we go. But so there you go. It was me being nitpicky, I suspect, at the back end there. But there we go. Okay. Any last thoughts then before we do kind of wrap things up, or have I missed anything?
No, I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah. I do want to.
Go on.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
Okay, the pair of you talking straight up, both of you, go now.
I just want to push for, if this obviously is going to be a one-time thing, but I really do think, especially for the person, and I think, for real, but I really do think for the person who mentioned being a manual wheelchair user, I'm so sorry, I don't remember your name. I'm drawing a blank.
It's Leanne.
Leanne.
Yes, Leanne.
Leanne, thank you. Leanne, I think that this is a real opportunity for people to have discussions about accessibility, about and I am not personally a member of that community, so I don't know what that would look like, but I think that Comic-Con and that con shows should turn to people perhaps who were able to have more access during this convention and talk to them about if there's any way we could incorporate things like this or how we could do that better and how we could bring people back into that. Because speaking from a personal perspective, my mother and my father, like I keep harping on because it just seems so bizarre to me that I've been doing this since I was, literally an infant. They were the ones that got me into this, and now because they're getting older and all this stuff, they haven't been able to go, and they miss being able to go. And so there's issues of age and there's issues of accessibility that I think Comic-Con at Home unintentionally opened an opportunity for us to discuss how, not only how we can bring more people into this, but how we can bring this kind of stuff to how we can make it more accessible. And I think that there's ways that people could do it, but I really do think that people should work with members of that community to make not just this con, but all cons more accessible. Since this one, for all of the nitpicks for something that they put together on a wing of prayer in the seat of their pants, did not too bad.
No, not at all. I mean, that's pretty much why I started from why I started with it. Yeah, absolutely.
But now Karma has to go. Karma had things to say.
It's funny you should mention. Well, not funny, but I actually had knee surgery June 22nd, and I tell you, I still would have went to San Diego Comic-Con with crutches, I'm sure. So the accessibility is really important. But if there's a will, there's a way. I still would have been right there in a wheelchair in Hall H, wheeling myself through gas lamp. Whether or not I was going to mention, what would have been cool is that if Kevin Smith could have moderated the whole weekend, it would have been cool to hear him say about the boys trait. Like we just saw that little snippet of the new season coming up. Just imagine him saying, "What did you guys think about that?" Like all the uproar and all the the interaction of that energy that we're used to feeling in Hall H and all the different rooms. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
No, Aaron, any thoughts?
No, I think that this has been a really good discussion, and like Carolyn said, I think that discussion about accessibility is important. Maybe even just at the actual event, providing rooms, like almost like a closed circuit TV room for people who have accessibility issues. At the very least, so they can enjoy the con, enjoy the panels as well.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, we're talking about next year. We're saying it's going to happen. This is what is going to happen, because off the back of this year, because remember what happened for me here in the UK, we've been having something called PPI, which is insurance on credit cards. You apply, which they've been missold, and you get checks back if a company finds that you've been spending too much money on your credit card insurance, and you got some money back. So in February, I believe it was the second week in February, I got a check for £4,500. It was for all my credit cards over the years, and £4,500, and that was going to pay for my hotels and my flights, and that was going to sort my Comic-Con out. And I put a tweet out saying, an amazing piece of good luck has happened. Comic-Con is now guaranteed. And then the follow-up tweet was, I'm still waiting for the shoe to drop, knowing my luck. 3 days later, Corona hit. This is what's going to happen next year. Next year, I am going to win the Euro Millions lottery. $168 million, 168 million quid is going to show up in my bank account around the first week in July. The aliens will invade 2 days later. The asteroid will show up the day after.
The aliens will take over Tumblr. So it may not be that bad a thing, really.
Oh dear Lord. Okay, so
I hope I'll be able to watch New Mutants before the next pandemic hits. Before the next pandemic hits.
Right.
That'll be the singularity will be when New Mutants shows, and then the world will end, and the Matrix will restart. It'll be like the end of Reboot, Restart, YES, yes, and then we'll regress back into evolutionary organisms because
When
that's
was
clearly
New
how
Mutants first advertised during the con? God, was that like
during the con.
yeah, like
Um,
during center? Like when was it actually? Like, was there wraps or posters or anything? For New
Apart
Mutants?
from the panel, which I did quite like because they did take the piss out of their release schedule, and they just went, it's coming out on this time and cancel. This time, this date cancelled. This date postponed, and it went through and it gave the brand new release date, and it just went fingers crossed.
Poor guys.
Oh dear. Very good. Excellent stuff. So listen, guys, I want to say thank you very much indeed for coming on. I really appreciate the chat. We've really dove deep on this, but hopefully hopefully we came up with some good ideas. If anything, because, and this is what I want to finish on, and if you want to jump in with this, although next year we are going to be back in San Diego, IRL, recording TikToks on our Google glasses. Are those still a thing? I don't know. And basically we are going to be enjoying the real con in person. But I'm hoping that we will see this virtual panels or the streaming panels continue to allow the world to enjoy this thing that we love, this event that we love, and the content that we love. One thing that always kept cropping up on my social media was people who were seeing these panels for the first time and going, so this is what Comic-Con's about. This is what, and going around the floors and looking at the websites and going, this is what it's about. All right. So hopefully next year they will take something from this and move forward and do something for 2021. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
On that. Even whatever happens next year, like you said, let's hope we're all in person again, but they should take this experience. You know, granted, they couldn't do the live interaction stuff, which is fine. They took on so much this year anyway, so let one thing hang. But even if they time delay some of these panels so that if you're there in person or you have some other, subscription access to it, so you see it the first day it goes, to have some of these panels still be available a day or two after they go on, and then stay available for another week or so that you get more access to the content. Like I think several people said already, we were multitasking. Oh, I've got 3 panels I really want to see. Well, it doesn't matter. I can see one now, see the other one during a break, or even after the con.
I turned around and said it. Oh, hang on a second, I've frozen. Oh, there they go. I turned around and said it. I did it in a tweet, and this was when I think Aaron and I were up at the same time. I'm on California. I'm on California time, so I was waking up around the same time as I would have been waking up in the Hall H line. I'm just going. The sun's coming up. All the chatter's starting to happen. People are waking up around 6-7 o'clock. How cool would it be to pull up your phone and watch a couple of the panels from the night before or the day before?
Exactly.
Yeah.
so
In the line, just get into it and just. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I'm about to make a suggestion that you guys are all probably going to hate, but that Comic-Con's going to love.
We loved your last one.
No, this is definitely, I was thinking about this and I was like, well, okay, we have all of this content available in person. There is always an opportunity to have a second ticket available for online content, and then somehow have one person pay for another, and then you can experience both.
I knew there was something that I was going to bring up, and I wanted to wrap this up.
Daphne said that last night. She's like, how come you can't have a half price or a third of the price ticket to watch everything virtually?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was about to say, no, go on.
Well, I was going to say, if you pay extra money, okay, look, I will do press until I die, and I'll probably die on the con floor at 80 and then haunt the convention center because that's how much I love it. But
because we won't find you, you'll be trampled.
If you were willing to pay the extra, you could have access to both. You could have a big package that would have both. You could have a half package that would be available for others. And then you could have the main package, which is doing it in person. And I think that there are a lot of people, perhaps, who are burned out, who are tired, but still miss the experience, would want to do it online. People possibly who have accessibility issues. Then there's people like me who are planning to die there. Then there's people who, want to experience both. And that's an opportunity for not only more content creators, for more independent creators, as well as more fans. And that way you wouldn't have as many people being upset about it. You could draw in new audiences and new crowds, and you could also make a butt ton of money.
Yeah.
That's actually great. If you have it on YouTube again, and you're seeing people do the rewatches after the fact, that would help CCI figure out what are the draws. What kind of panels, what kind of content are people gravitating towards? So that's also a good thing for previewing the next couple cons.
It's actually two things I completely forgot to put in. I'll make it real quick, and we're not going to really dive into it. But using the member IDs more, having those people who had bought badges or have signed up for Comic-Con to have a kind of preview to the panels, and then everyone else time delayed for everyone else. But those who have bought badges or are part of the member ID setup use the member IDs more. And the other one as well was something was further back, regarding the exclusives, staggered releases. They all did the stuff on Thursday, and then no one really talked for the rest of the weekend.
True.
Let's have some of that. Okay. This is a whole other conversation. We've been doing for this hour and 45 for God's sake. So let's stop right there. Guys, thank you very much indeed for coming on. I really appreciate the time that you've taken, and all of your thoughts have just been spot on. I mean, Clydene's watching, and I guarantee she's taking notes. I never get to see panels, she says.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
And we've got Solicitor of Smeg. Not sure if it will go well going to Comic-Con. Costs a lot already. It seems like it should be included in the badge. So that's the member ID thing. Paying for just streaming of panels would be a great option. Andrew English is reminding us. Yes, that was Comic-Con HQ. Except they cocked that up and tried to make it G4. They tried to make it G4.
Experience and improve it.
Yeah, tell me about it. This is the Comic-Con HQ we wanted.
Yeah.
This is the Comic-Con.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, Carolyn. If you'd like to tell us again where people can find you, where you write, and where people can find you online. Oh, hang on. Try that.
Go.
Try that again. Sorry, that was me. That was me. Try again.
That was CCI actually. I'm just joking.
I'm on Screen Rant. I've been on Screen Rant. I've written for Screen Rant. I've written for Fandom. Right now, I'm writing for a great site called The Marvel Report. You can also catch me on DCTV podcasts. I did the Swamp Thing podcast. I did the Watchmen podcast. Go watch Watchmen on HBO because it's amazing, and
Watchmen is awesome.
It really, truly is. And then you can also follow me at Carolyn's Geek Out, Instagram, Twitter, but my TikTok is Caroline CAROLING.cosplay COSPLAY, and you can follow me there for podcast cosplay discussions and general fun.
Can you message me that? I want to put that in the comments. I want to make people. I want to point people in your direction.
TikTok.
Sure.
There we go. Thank you very much indeed. Karma, where can people find you?
So my website is right there. We are secondunion.com, and we have a ball sharing content, and you'll see all of my social media links there. I'm also at 28 Savage Days is my Twitter, and also my Instagram.
You see,
So let's talk.
I've always wanted to know what the 28 Savage Days meant.
Thank you for asking. I am a huge horror fan. Always have been since I could talk. And my favorite is, I'm a huge fan of Steve Niles, 30 Days of Night. And also my favorite horror movie is 28 Days Later.
Karma, are you on Twitter? And if so, can I follow you?
That's cool.
Yes. And that scary movie, did you see that the Scare Good TV panel is excellent. If you haven't watched that, so Scary Good TV.
Oh, there you go. And Carolyn, it's Karma Savage. Karma Savage on Twitter. Yeah. Aaron, where can people find you, sir?
You can find all my social media links, whether it's Comic-Con Fits, Film Creator Con, my personal one, or for Hall H at aaron.hallh.com. It's all there, and look forward to interacting with you.
We need Comic-Con Fit back. We need
Yeah.
that back, sir, because Comic-Con. I mean, can I just say, the pandemic has not been kind to me. This is the Comic-Con T-shirts. I own about 15 Comic-Con T-shirts, and maybe only 3 of them fit now.
Oh, you did try you did try them all at the same time, though.
I had a lot of fun doing that. That was cool. Yeah, Brian, where can people find you, sir?
So I'm Brian. I'm at Brainwise on Twitter. I think most of my other links would be there, including the link to the blog that my wife and I do, Bookended by Cats, where she writes about movies and books, and I write about 80s music.
Excellent stuff.
Oh, 80s music?
80s music, yeah. I'm just a nerd on the web.
Yeah.
I'm not pitching anything. But yeah, every Friday I do the Friday 80s flashback. I had one for Comic-Con this week, too. So there's a couple songs specifically about comic books there.
Nice.
Fair enough. We're going to finish on one last hashtag. I mean, I talked about the amount of hashtags that have been rolling around this whole weekend. Comic-Con extra large. There you go. Maybe Comic-Con extra large for one or two of us, but yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, there we go. Listen, right, guys, it's been a pleasure talking about this one. It's been a weird and wonderful Comic-Con, but hopefully it's a one-off. It's not something they're gonna take some elements and they're gonna learn from them, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's a case of what's next for the IRL. We've been hearing on chatter about the fact that we will probably not be getting, well, we're not going to be getting a returning registration badge sale. The odds on an actual badge sale are looking rather slim, but they're looking at the returning badges and how many people are actually refunding. So more on that as we go. Okay. The conversations and panels and interviews that I've been doing over the course of the last 3-4 months have been so much fun. They've allowed me to continue the love of the convention circuit and the creators that appear at them, and hopefully it's been something that you've enjoyed over the last 3 months. I'm now going to take a couple weeks break. We're not going to be having any shows this week. We're not going to be having any shows the week after. We do have some panels that are lined up, or some interviews that are lined up. James Tiernan wants to talk. We've got Derek Robertson that wants to talk, but it's down to when they're available. But the idea is, for now, this is the end of season 7. Okay, so this is how we've always done it. We get to Comic-Con, we close the season down. We have a bit. At this point, Caroline should be ripping the phone out of my goddamn hands and saying, "Sit next to this pool and enjoy yourself." That's what should be happening. But there we go. Thank you very much indeed for watching Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego, all the way throughout lockdown and through the pandemic. I hope we've been entertaining. I hope you've enjoyed the conversations. See you in a couple of weeks' time when we kick things back up again. We'll find out how many panels we'll actually be doing. We may be going back to just once a week, but we'll see what happens. Take care. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear your goddamn masks, and
that's right.
Yeah, let's get through this and let's get it done. From all of us, from Karma, from Aaron, from Carolyn, from Brian, from myself, Leonard. Take care, and we'll see you next year.
Bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.